Bueno, muy buenos días de nuevo. Mi nombre es Jorge Canaguati. En el programa soy como moderador de este importante panel o esta importante presentación. Me quiero disculpar. Soy presidente del Comité Ejecutivo de la Sociedad Interamericana de Prensa, que está en reunión ahorita, y pedí permiso o me vine aquí porque para mí es un placer y un privilegio presentar a Mike Blinder, a quien nuestro grupo, nuestra casa editora conoce desde hace más de 10 años, 12 años creo yo, si no me equivoco. Con Mike hemos hecho muchas cosas, desde productos impresos y generar estrategias de lo que nosotros llamamos sectores segmentados, hasta lo último que creo que es parte de lo que Mike va a comentar. De verdad que estamos con un profesional de primer nivel y además un gran presentador, y yo no podía dejar esta oportunidad de acompañarlos a ustedes y a él y hacer esta presentación. Mike es presidente de Blinder Group, es basado en Florida y es consultor de muchos grupos mediáticos, especializado en los temas de avance digital, y en octubre, trabajando con él y el grupo de nuestro sector digital, comenzamos a construir lo que ya se lanzó y creo que va a ser parte de la presentación de Mike hoy, que es lo que nosotros llamamos Go Digital, que es una agencia básicamente independiente de los medios, que va más allá de los medios nuestros. Son servicios digitales que aprovechan y se complementan y trabajan en algunos productos con los medios impresos, que es parte de nuestro objetivo, y además otros servicios que estemos y vamos a incorporar poco a poco. Esto fue lanzado en octubre, en octubre comenzamos a trabajar con él y fue lanzado en febrero, hace un mes, creo que es verdaderamente marzo fue el primer mes que comenzamos a operar, pero es una historia muy interesante que queríamos y quiere él compartir con ustedes. Evidentemente, la búsqueda, creo que la industria nuestra, todos los tenemos en la mesa todos los días, es cómo monetizamos esas nuevas plataformas, cómo sostenemos lo que nos trae hasta ahorita el máximo rendimiento y el máximo flujo, que es nuestros productos impresos, pero ya sabemos, estamos claros para dónde va la tendencia, que es a la plataforma digital, y es algo que todavía es un reto importante para todos nosotros. Así que yo no me voy a tomar mucho tiempo, creo que Mike por sí solo va a hablar. Para mí ha sido un privilegio, Mike, presentarte. Es un amigo de nuestra casa y espero que sea tan provechoso para ustedes como ha sido para nosotros el conocimiento que nos ha traído y que va a compartir él con ustedes. Yo me voy a disculpar porque tengo que regresar a mi reunión y les deseo la más provechosa de las reuniones. Muchísimas gracias y bienvenido nuevamente por compartir con nosotros.
Buenos días. I am sorry. I do not speak Spanish. Yes, no? I know some words, except for buenos días. Buenos días. Baño. Yes, no? And cerveza. Buenos días. I'm also sorry for something else. I'm sorry that I come from the United States of America. And the reason I say that is I've been traveling around the world speaking to audiences in Europe, down in Honduras. I spoke to 250 business leaders just a month ago. I spoke in Bermuda. And there are things we thrust upon you, our society, upon the world, that I'm sorry for. For example, fast food. I counted in the bus ride over here from the airport last night, if you're interested. There were 7 McDonald's, 5 Burger Kings, 2 Domino's, 3 Taco Bells, and 4 Subways. So we have made the world, unfortunately, fat. Do you agree? Yes, no. This is something I am sorry for. I'm also sorry for what happened earlier today, the mobile movement. You know that the mobile craze started in the United States. We're not talking to each other. I have a 14-year-old daughter I just took on vacation in Washington, D.C. I left them there. And she sent me this video last night I wanted to share with you. I thought this would be interesting. No? No audio?
Really?
I thought that was kind of cute. Well, anyway, between fast food and mobile, I can't think of anything else that we in the United States should be sorry for. Those are the only 2 things I can possibly think of right now that we have thrust upon the world. All right, so let's get to work. All the slides I'm going to present to you right now are available on the internet for download. The web address is blindergroup.com/getinfo. You notice at the bottom of your screen, all the sales materials we've used to generate revenue are available for you as well, plus all support materials. They're all online right now. Feel free to use them. Send me any text or information you need so you can use them in your own markets as well. The company, the Blinder Group, has 3 separate things we do for newspapers around the world. One of the things I was asked to do for Grupo Opsa down in Honduras is consult them, and consult them on best practices for digital deployment. Obviously, this is based like we do in the United States of America. And in the USA, there is a misnomer now going around that newspapers are dead. Now, this is not the case. Many people are feeling that newspapers are dead, but they're not. I'm going to show you the latest data that we have on newspaper readership in the United States from a company I work with called Media Audit. I have a contract to work with them. And they take a survey of thousands of media consumers in the United States every month. And on average, according to our data, 46% of 18-plus adults touch a newspaper every week. They're also extremely educated. They're homeowners and they're affluent. But when it comes to their age, they obviously lean a bit older. We have a bulge in age between 45 and 75. They're baby boomers. That's what they call me. People of my age, people who enjoy holding the printed product. Now, the reach of the printed product is 46%. The reach of the digital product is 32%. We actually have a higher reach on average with our print products than our digital products. However, the age of the digital product is younger. So when we put the 2 together very comfortably, we get a 59% reach touching 18-plus adults on a given week when you combine the print and the digital products, 59% reach. Now, recently, Scarborough Research came out with a study that had it 10 points higher, a 69% reach. And newspaper readership is actually growing thanks to the last election cycle where people are trying to seek out credible news. And again, according to their data, the younger readers are on the digital side, the older readers are on the newspaper side. Now, here's another study that I hold near and dear. There's a company called Burrell Associates. Gordon Burrell, the owner, is a very close friend of mine, and what I like about his study is it doesn't follow audience, it follows money. I'm an advertising guy. I've been spelling media advertising for the past 36 years. I started in radio as a disc jockey, moved into sales, eventually managed radio stations and radio groups, moved into television, and then started working for the newspaper industry on the digital side. And he follows the money and basically asks 2 key questions of thousands of small business owners all over the United States. What media are you buying today, and what media do you plan to buy in the future? And he issues extensive data that we all look at for what's happening today and where the industry is going. Now, we had a president way back in the 80s named Ronald Reagan, and Ronald Reagan had an associate named Lee Atwater. Now, Lee Atwater coined an expression back in the 80s during our election cycle that holds near and dear to me. He said, "Perception is reality." And one of the things that Gordon does beyond just ask advertisers what advertising they're purchasing, he asks them what's working and not working. And in his latest data, back in December, of thousands of business owners all over the United States, this is their perception of what's working and not working. Again, perception is reality, so let's quickly look at that because their perception is our reality as we approach these businesses and try to sell them advertising, whether it's digital, whether it's legacy. Now, the first one may be near and dear to you because I have been selling media for over 35 years, and I've been hearing this for over 35 years. You approach a small business owner and say, want to buy some advertising? They say, we don't need to, we use word of mouth. I'm not sure if that is in your cultures, but we hear that everywhere. Now, how do we get around that? How do we take a business owner that thinks referrals and word of mouth are the most important things to them? Or they say, we don't need them, we have too much business. Now, one of the ways we generate revenue for our businesses that we work with, the media companies, is we bring business owners to workshops. This is exactly what we did in Honduras last month. 150 business owners came to 2 sessions. Actually 250, 150 in the capital, another 100 in San Pedro Sula, and we educate them at different ways to leverage their business. And what I do during these workshops is I create what's called fear of loss. In other words, I'm not selling them, I'm making them understand that without doing something, they could have what's called loss aversion, or there's an expression in the United States, if you snooze, you lose. And part of those slides that I present to business owners talks about disruption. But I discuss disruption at a different level. We heard about mobile disruption this morning. I talk about societal disruption, thanks to the Great Recession of 2008. Because in 2008, when we had the Great Recession in the United States, which impacted the entire world, what happened is it changed our society to become cheap, to become frugal. And this is something we see everywhere in studies, the new frugality. It is actually cool and hip to be cheap now, to save money, and the number one cheap people in our society are these darn millennials. They are the cheapest people in the world. As a matter of fact, they're not buying houses, they're not taking on college debt, they're living with their parents, and they started cheap websites where cheap people go, like Groupon, Living Social, where people can find deals, offers, and specials. Now, because of this frugality, and it should translate very easily, we now have a society of no brand loyalty. People can easily be bribed to try new products and other products. Everywhere we turn in the United States now, there are studies of a lack of loyalty to any brand. As a matter of fact, Ernst & Young now says in the United States, only 1 out of 4 consumers are loyal to anything. You can ask these guys, we just had some fun with fast food, but they no longer market one product versus another. Our burger tastes better. Our French fries are crisper. All they do is discuss value meals and dollar menus in order to bribe someone to move from one brand to another. Now, because of this cheapness, business owners decided to pull back on their advertising since 2008. They started pulling it back from their budget. So I say to this audience, that is not a good idea. And the reason is that you have to understand that if you're not marketing, you are losing business to competition. Studies now from McGraw-Hill say that businesses that market do hundreds of % better than businesses that don't. And of course, the American Advertising Federation talks about how businesses who market do better than competition. And Coopers & Lybrand does a study that I hold near and dear. It talks about stealing business. The concept is called market share. When you advertise, you steal customers from your competitor. During the workshop, I actually quote from my book. I wrote a book in 2008 about aggressive sales tactics, and I have hundreds of quotes in there. And I actually quote from Sun Tzu's Art of War, written 2,000 years ago by a Chinese warrior, how to win battles. We discuss with advertisers, if you're not marketing in a free market society, you're leaving yourself vulnerable for competition that may be on the internet. And many business sectors now in the United States locally are losing their customers to national websites that are at war with them, stealing their customers. We create fear of loss. That's how we get over that first perception. The next two we're going to discuss in a moment. Company's website, that basically translates to the internet, and of course social media, and that's where we get into these digital services that we're launching. The next one I want to show you I think is fascinating. This is in a recent study in December. Thousands of business owners actually claim that newspaper ads help them generate more new business than all other legacy media combined. Again, their perception is that we still rock, even though there's this rumor going around that newspapers have a lack of value. Ladies and gentlemen, newspapers are not dead. We're walking around living a self-prophecy. The challenge lies in how we go to market. So when I train salespeople in how they should deal with their brand, I take them through a journey on the best ways to go to market. Now, I hope you don't mind some basic sales training, and I've trained thousands and thousands and thousands of salespeople, including the salespeople at Grupo Opsa in Honduras, and I always talk first about what we call the approach. We call that in the United States getting in the door. How do you get a small business owner to actually meet with you? And I write chapters about this in my book, and I use an old yet proven technique called the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch was actually developed by IBM in the 1950s, where they used to say when you're imagine riding in an elevator with a prospect and you have 10 seconds. What would you say to this prospect? Because if you say, my name is Mike, I work for La Prensa, I'd like to sit down and discuss with you your goals, needs, and desires when it comes to advertising or marketing, what you're going to hear is, we don't need to advertise, we use word of mouth, we tried you once, it didn't work, you're too expensive, newspapers are dead, I'm using your competition, our budget is gone. They just start throwing you objections and making sure they don't do business with you. The trick to a good elevator pitch is called benefit selling. Benefit selling, you lead with the benefits that you provide the small business owner. By the way, benefit selling was developed by this gentleman. His name was Elmer Wheeler. He was a vacuum cleaner salesman in the 1930s, considered one of the top salespeople in the United States, became famous because he wrote books in the 1930s. This was the Great Depression, where no one was buying anything, and he had the ability to get people to let him in the door because he took the script and ripped it up. He was selling vacuum cleaners, but rather than lead with the product, he would knock on the door and say, "Madam, if you give me 30 seconds, I will show you quickly a method that will allow you to take an hour a day off, lay on the couch, relax, and your husband doesn't have to know." The benefit of the vacuum cleaner was saving time. By the way, he wrote a quintessential phrase about benefit selling. In America, we use it all the time. And I'll share it with you. Can we put the audio back up? I hope it's up. But this goes back to 1933. This is
These principles are designed to make your sales more accurate, foolproof, and faster. Take principle number 1 here, for example. Don't sell the steak, sell the sizzle. It's the sizzle that sells the steak and not the cow. Hidden in everything you sell in life is a sizzle. The sizzle is the tang in the cheese, the crunch in the cracker, the whiff in the coffee, and the pucker in the pickle.
That goes back to 1933. Don't sell the steak, sell the aroma, sell the sizzle. So when we train salespeople how to get in the door, we tell them to be benefit-led. My name is Mike. I work for La Prensa. You likely know who we are. But you may not know is I help 30 businesses every month find customers, grow revenue, actually grow their business with a good return on investment. Benefit, 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 no pain. Benefit, 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 no pain. And that's how we go do the lead. Now, the only reason I'm telling you that is everybody preaches elevator pitches, but I added a new twist to it many years ago, because I tell salespeople, before you even breathe, you have a shiny toy statement. Now, follow my logic. My name is Mike. I work for La Prensa. You likely know we're the dominant media company, but you may not know is I collectively, with my other salespeople, help over 100 businesses every year find customers, grow revenue with a good return on investment. But the reason I'm here today is we have a brand new, exciting whatever, and I just want to see if it's a good match. Your excitement transfers to the prospect. Excited about the new shiny toy. Ladies and gentlemen, at least in the United States, and that may be different in your society, everybody likes new, improved, shiny toys. By the way, in our last election cycle, and I don't want to get too political, that was the difference between these two candidates. One had the resume, one had the background, the other was new, the other was different, and everybody jumped on the shiny toy. Even our president said, I get it, I was the new car smell. People wanted something new and different. Now, why am I telling you this? because this is all going to circle back to how we've made so much money for newspapers. The newspaper has great reach and incredible results. I trained in Anchorage, Alaska last week. I had a room of 50 salespeople in the snow, and I said to them, if I needed to pack a restaurant tonight and I wanted to say twin lobsters, 2 lobsters, $3.95, and I don't care what the font is, I stick that in the paper, will I have that restaurant packed tonight? And they all said, yeah. Then, ladies and gentlemen, your newspaper rocks. The challenge of selling it is not that it doesn't have great reach and results. The challenge is that it's old, and people want something new. And that's what we do. We walk around with no swagger. My latest mantra is get your swagger back. Get your attitude back. We are a rockin' industry. We've got what we need to drive business. Perception is reality. Now, last year we generated $5 million for the global newspaper industry. Most of that was in the United States and Canada, but half of that was print. I do not deviate from the core product. I believe in that core product, even though I'm a geek and a nerd and I believe in digital. And our secret to making that happen is a blend. I believe when you take the newspaper and blend it with cool, shiny toys, you can get that print ad sold every single week for a full year. And that's what we do. Now, so let's get into this world of digital services and how that applies to that sales acronym. All right, we'll go back to Burrell's study. Gordon Burrell, Burrell Associates, did a study where they analyzed the digital landscape in the United States of America. This is local money, not national money. And at the end of 2015, as you can say, digital had a large share of local business. That's all digital products and services, websites, and all the products we're going to talk about. But if you looked at all legacy media below it, newspapers were still number one. But if you added all up the other media, it eclipsed digital. There was still more money being spent on the non-digital side versus digital side. At the end of last year, things changed. We called it the X year. There is more money being spent on the digital side in the legacy side. That line going up is everything digital. The line going straight is newspaper, radio, television, direct mail, cable, billboards, signage, and what have you. And speaking of icebergs, and I love the session this morning, Burrell Associates drew an iceberg and said, of that local money, most of it is not advertising anymore. Most money being spent in the United States is digital services over advertising services. Now, this may not be your culture, but there's one thing I've learned, and I said this to Jorge last night, and I said it this morning when I was in the gym chatting with some other of your brethren, that we seem to be maybe 3, 4, 5 years ahead of you. Those could be your curves coming in your culture soon. So what is a digital service, and why are we doing this? Well, recently we launched a digital agency. I'm going to use you as an example, a successful, mature digital agency that we launched in the Chicago area. This is Shaw Media. This is not the Chicago Tribune or the Chicago Sun-Times where I've worked. This is the suburban papers surrounding Chicago, a very over-media town. They have 22 titles and a pretty large circulation in these affluent suburbs. These are the services they now sell to local business owners, and we'll quickly review them, these digital services we're taking to market. The first one is website design, website development. Ladies and gentlemen, what you learned this morning is fact. It is a mobile world. 74% of the customers that are now calling on these businesses have mobile devices in their pocket, iPhones and Androids. That's a done deal. It is not up for debate, as our speaker said this morning. That is real. But the challenge is the business owner. They're carrying the device, but 70% of US businesses are not mobile adaptive. Their websites look bad on iPhones and Androids. When people use their fingers, they have to widen it out. And it's hurting their business. It hurt my business. This is a product that I'm selling around the world now. This is a digital online training tool that I have at 50 newspapers now, where I train actually from my home on the internet. It's more advanced than a webinar. It's actually a studio. Ladies and gentlemen, when I built that website 3 years ago, it was not mobile adaptive. I could see with my analytics that I kept people on a desktop. I lost them on mobile devices. When we rebuilt it, I am now keeping those customers. I had to spend money, like millions of businesses will be spending, to rebuild their websites to be mobile adaptive. Now, these other 4 digital services we're going to explore: search engine optimization, directory optimization, reputation management, and search engine marketing, all boil down to Google. I mean, Google is in our society. Google is everything. And whenever I explain Google to an audience, whether they're salespeople or business owners, I always draw a marketing funnel and explain that there are people outside that funnel that need to be excited to understand your business, but there are already people in that funnel that actively need you right now, and Google dominates that part of the marketing. That's where people go now to find a product or service. Let's do a quick search on Google. I'm now looking for a hotel here in Antigua. This changed recently. Because of that mobile movement, Google moved all the ads from the right rail to the very top. And 90% of US consumers stop on that first page of results, and 60% stop right about here. There is now a war going on for those active consumers looking for a product or service. The very top is advertising. We have an expression for that. We call that search engine marketing. Some of you call it pay-per-click advertising. It is very, very hard for small businesses to manage. They need qualified people to manage these campaigns for them. So many newspapers are now selling search engine marketing as a way to help a business be found for active consumers. And the #1 local media in the United States doing this is Yellow Pages. This is how they're surviving, because the book has been replaced by Google, so each seller is actively selling with the ad search engine marketing. What killed Yellow Pages is this map, and by the way, that changed last year. They used to show 4, 5, 8, maybe 12 businesses on the results page. Now they show 3 because of the mobile screen. We call that the 3-pack. And those 3 hotels have won that map. If you want to see the rest of the hotels, you click into it, and there's the hotels, and there's the list. And Google does not do that list alphabetically. It uses their own algorithms and methodology to rank those. In the United States, we have an ecosystem of different companies generating this data. Some of it is flawed, some of it has to be fixed, and we actually sell a service called visibility, where we help a business rise on the map. It's very easy to implement in the United States. I have 3 companies now exploring adding this service into Honduras, because your data is generated differently on Google Maps than it is in the US. And it's not just Google. It's Yahoo, it's Bing, it's TripAdvisor, CitySearch, and thousands of directories all over the world. Now, we move down the list. This is obviously the organic results. Businesses are frustrated because they build websites and they go search and they don't see their website and they scream at the company that built their website. And then we try to sell them a service called search engine optimization. Many of you know how Google works, but for those of you that don't, let me give you a quick 2-minute primer. Google uses a system called PageRank. It looks at millions and millions of websites a minute, and then when it looks at the website, it's analyzed them based on 2 value propositions. Relevance means it's looking for words to match in the website for the search. And the trick is you got to put the words in there properly for Google to match. Most people who build websites should know how to do that. But that's half the battle. The second thing Google does is rank a website's popularity based on links that come to a website. More links from credible places, more that website rises. That's why certain companies provide a service called backlinking, where on behalf of the advertiser, you find websites to link in. Words and links, words and links. And we sell this service to advertisers. We'll take over your website, we'll do the words properly, and we'll spend months negotiating those links. Now, I'm going to take you to a sample company that I worked with recently in McAllen, Texas. This is the McAllen Monitor. I showed you its circulation and its website. We generated just a few months ago a bit north of $250,000 in 4 days of sales. And one of the things that this newspaper has going for it is great search engine optimization. You do as well. Remember I said it's words and links. For example, if you look for the word McAllen, Texas, I'm not looking for news, I'm not looking for sports, I'm looking for McAllen. And when I look for that, we'll notice that the newspaper itself comes up very high on Google because the word of the city is all over the newspaper page, but it gets thousands of links each month based on the content generated. So we've embedded in that newspaper a directory. That directory has all the businesses that do business with the newspaper, all the advertisers. You can search through it or click, and you eventually wind up on a landing page that Google perceives inside the newspaper website, so it optimizes. And then you give the advertiser a link back to their website, which helps them with search engine optimization. SEO, search engine optimization. And we do this all the time. Now let's go back and look for those hotels here, and you'll notice that this hotel at the top has a 4.4 rating on Google. People are actually rating this hotel on Google, City Search, Yelp, TripAdvisor, Facebook. This is the world we live in, a world of reputation. And 88% of US consumers now go on the internet and look at reviews before they make a purchase. So we now provide a service to small businesses where we monitor their reputation. We use third-party vendors that actually scour the internet and look at different websites and alert them when people say things about them so they can fix their problems online and respond to these reviews. And we do this in hundreds of cities. I'll move on quickly. Social media management. In the United States of America now, 85% of businesses are using social media, and you heard it this morning. They're very, very, very frustrated because they don't have the time to do it, and they all now are on Facebook. 96% of US businesses are now doing a Facebook page, and they're doing it wrong. So let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook now has 1.6 billion members. There are no kids left on Facebook. They all went away. Everybody under 30 left Facebook when grandma found it. It's now got an average age of on the United States of 41 years old, and it's one of the most popular websites we have in our culture today. So here's the challenge when we look at Facebook. When you launch a Facebook page right now and you start to administer your content, what happens is you have people that click the like button. This is my Facebook page for the Blender Group, and we have 1,200 likes. 1,200 people, we hope, that have clicked the like button, and when they're looking at their Facebook newsfeed, our content as we post it flows into their newsfeed. But starting 2 years ago, Facebook started negating the reach. They started bringing it down and not letting all of your audience see the content you post. You'll notice here when we posted this article, for our 1,200 media subscribers to our Facebook page, a small handful, 136, actually saw the content. Now, why is Facebook putting the reach down? Why are they bringing this down? Well, they say that business owners aren't using social media properly. And they're engaging the page with algorithms where they're analyzing how much engagement is going on. In other words, business owners like car dealers put an automobile on Facebook. And people don't enjoy seeing a car between their friends from high school and church and family members, so they don't comment, they don't click the like button, and most importantly, they don't share. And Facebook is running algorithms against that content to negate the reach. The reach is coming down. And they say, we're doing this to educate you to be more engagement-oriented. If you think about it, that's the definition of social media. The more engagement, the more sharing, the more your reach will go up. Now, that's a lie, because when Facebook brought the reach down, their profits went up, because with the low reach number comes a boost button to make you pay to put your content out there now. and Facebook's making tons of revenue. And business owners are frustrated. So one of the new digital services we launched in McAllen, Texas, is a tool my company helped develop called Friends to Follow. Friends to Follow takes advertisers' social media and places it next to the editorial content of the newspaper's website. It infuses it. Let me give you a live example. Here we are on the Monitor's website, and as we scroll down the page, you'll notice here is actual live social media from local businesses. And it's mostly Facebook, but it's also Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Google+, and I'm forgetting one. Google+, oh, YouTube. We have YouTube in there as well. So as they post and do the work, we show their content to thousands and thousands and thousands of more readers. They are loving this, and it's helping us really, really close millions of dollars of new deals. Now, moving on with our digital services, we now notice here that social media management is part of the game, but as we move on beyond that, we see video. Now, YouTube is a social media channel, and it's the #2 social media channel now viewed in the world. Now, why is video important to small businesses with all these billions and billions of hours viewed? The answer's in the research. The average internet user spends 88% more time on a website when it has a video for display. And as a matter of fact, they're 64% more likely to purchase the product or service when they see the video. So there's a new service we're now providing as part of this suite of services where we produce videos for advertisers in mass. And we don't go in with lights and cameras and actors and actresses. We do a simple, what we call slideshow video, where we grab images right from their website, or we use stock images that we've already garnered. We hire a professional voice, we put some music behind it, and we produce videos like this.
If you're looking for good food and lots of fun, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Cambridge Bar and Grill. We are a one-of-a-kind restaurant that blends delicious cuisine and great drink specials with live music, dancing, and so much more. All in a fun, family-friendly atmosphere.
And they own that video, and they're allowed to use it on their website. Now, the next digital service we're offering is called target marketing. You heard that word this morning, programmatic advertising. If you haven't really done a deep dive in programmatic, you're making a huge error because this is the #1 digital revenue stream now for US newspapers. It's easy to implement, and it's massively profitable. For those of you that don't understand the programmatic world, let me simply explain it to you. A few years ago, hundreds and hundreds of competing websites and social media channels and search engines decided there is strength in numbers and we're going to share our data, allow anyone come to a place we call the virtual advertising exchange and instantly find out who's on the internet at this very moment. So they tap into the data from Facebook, Google, and thousands of websites. Now, many of my publishers make money on what we call the demand side. What we mean by the demand side is that national advertisers want your eyeballs, and you might already be doing this, where you now allow a national advertiser to use the ad exchange to channel into your audience. As I mentioned, I was in Washington, D.C. this week, and I flew in here for this conference, and I move on to Louisiana. That's my 14-year-old daughter. We were in Washington, and I checked in from my hotel in Washington to La Prensa, Grupo Opsa's Honduran newspaper, to see how our campaigns were doing. And as I went to their website, I saw an ad for the hospital in my hometown in Florida because I was tapped. I had done a recent search for medical issues I was having, and because I had searched Google because I was having some back pain, the hospital in Florida where I live was advertising to me on a Honduran website. And at that moment, Jorge made money. On average, $1.50, 1,000 impressions. The way we're making money for newspapers is now what we call the supply side. We can take a small business locally, enter the ad exchange, and place their ads on the global sites locally. And how we're doing that is very interesting. It's called geo-targeting. We're saying to the advertiser, I can place your ad not just on the newspaper's website, I can place it on the other sites your customers are going to locally. And I can place it based on their interests. I can place it based on their age, their income, their demographic. I can place it there after they visit your website. And this is not, in my opinion, a digital service. Many of our clients consider this because if you think about it, a digital service that I just showed you is not a core competency in this room. I had a long dialogue this morning in the gym with Matt, the president of your organization, and I discussed the problem with digital services. Any geek in a garage can build a website. Any nerd can help a business owner do search engine marketing. You in this room have a core competency. You have editorial content. And through that editorial content, you provide advertising, or as I explained it to ad reps, you rent eyeballs. Eyeball renting is how we train salespeople to approach media. They have a dialogue with the advertiser, learn who their customers are, and suggest the eyeballs they should rent. All your various products in this room, whether they're print, whether they're digital, whether they're mailed, whether they're racked, are arrows in your quiver, and we train the salespeople to have a dialogue with your advertisers and whip out the right arrow to grow their business. That's why niche products are so in vogue right now. The different products you have narrow the eyeballs you rent. So here's the thing. Audience extension is just part of the basic things we do. Programmatic is part of what we offer. When I train salespeople on approaching media, I use two simple words. Ladies and gentlemen, you can take this to the bank. The secret to success for any business is reach and frequency, and nothing has changed. When I train a sales force and introduce new products to them, I always start the same way. I show them this slide, and I say, ladies and gentlemen, in the 1600s, to sell a cow, you nail a note to a tree, and nothing's changed, just notes and trees. If I was trying to sell a cow in 1603, correct me if I'm wrong, I would put the note on the right path where the cow buyers are, as opposed to the one they're not. Today we call that niche marketing and target marketing. It is simple. You place the right ad in front of the right eyeball. And advertisers need to know that. They need to pay more to target. Or as I like to say, the best way in media to overspend is to underspend. A targeted ad works better than ads just placed out in mass media. Reach. So when you think about it, if you approach an advertiser that's selling furniture, they definitely would go into your print product. I think I would definitely want to put them on your website because more reach equals more results. I would get them on your mobile app or your mobile site, but I'm greedy. More reach, more results. I would enter them into the programmatic world and place that same message on the national sites their customers go to locally and the phones and apps. Reach. But I said there's two secrets to success. There's reach and there's frequency. And this is where newspapers are poor, at least the ones I work for, because they sell one ad at a time to advertisers. I came from radio and television, and boy, in our industry, we never sold less than 12-week schedules, 15 commercials a week, because frequency is necessary. In the United States today, the average human being is influenced by 5,000 messages a day. There is clutter everywhere. We're putting ads everywhere you look, in airplanes right now. We're sticking them on gas pumps. McDonald's has launched McTV. These flat screen TVs are so cheap, they're putting them everywhere. They're putting them in shopping carts now. There's clutter everywhere, and I hope you're not offended, but this was a men's room I went to. Ladies, my apologies. Then I swung around to wash my hands and had to watch the same TV commercial. We have a lot of clutter. And the trick to survival of a message is it has to be repetitive. The worst advertising campaign ever just went down in the United States. It's called the Super Bowl, where many huge brands will spend $5 million for one commercial. And research shows they don't work. I mean, they wash over the public. One commercial, it may make you laugh, it may make you cry, but you don't remember the product, you don't remember the shape or size of the box or bottle, and you don't go to the store and buy it. These companies do this advertising basically to make their stocks look better in Wall Street, but it doesn't help the business advance. You're doing the advertiser a favor when you place their ad properly and you give them tons of reputation, reach and frequency. And ladies and gentlemen, the internet in tandem with your newspaper is frequency on steroids. It gives a tremendous amount of frequency to a campaign. This is what we do. And then we don't only do the internet, we sell full-year contracts. We convince the advertiser they need to be in your newspaper every week, on your website all the time, on the internet locally to help them drive their business, reach and frequency. So let's continue our journey. Who sells these digital services? And this is another dialogue I had this morning in the gym with Matt. Should you have a separate digital sales force, or should you train your local digital seller, your local legacy newspaper seller, to take digital services to market? Well, first of all, we don't call them digital salespeople anymore. I have a new name for the digital specialist in your newspaper, and I hope it translates well, but I call them now the digital evangelist, because that's what they do. They evangelize digital, not just to the advertiser, but to the newspaper salesperson as well. And we believe now that you don't have them separated as much anymore. We believe that you compete with the legacy salesperson and you collaborate as well. They do a little bit of both. They target new business while they support the local newspaper salesperson. And the trick to making this work is compensation. Your local digital specialist must make money whether he sells it on his own or he helps someone else to sell it. And the local salesperson for your newspaper has to still get a commission if he uncovers an advertiser, finds they need a digital service, and passes it on to the digital evangelist. You have to compensate both so they're the friends and not the enemy. It boils down to compensation. And the products that your local salesperson can sell are different. We believe strongly that if you sell website design, search engine optimization, or the management of someone's Facebook page or Twitter account, that must be passed on to the digital specialist. Those products take time to close. They have a lengthy sales cycle. They require a lot of knowledge, and it will slow down your print salesperson. They will not be able to do their day-to-day tasks and continue to advance your print product. But we believe you can train that print salesperson to take the rest of these products to market because they work perfectly in tandem with the print product. So let's give you some examples. Let's look at revenue generation right now. Let's show you how we take this to market and how we blend the newspaper and digital services to generate the $5 million we did last year. Let's go back to McAllen, Texas. We build a number of different programs for the newspaper. It's not one program, it's many. In this case, we had 4. And we don't show the advertiser a menu of programs. What we say to the advertiser is, here is one that we believe is perfect for you. We go in high, and we can always back down if they get a little resistant to the price point. We go in with one solution with another one ready to go. And we build it into a story. This is an actual example of the top-level program we took to market. And in it, we start off with a model we call audience first. We define the audience of the newspaper and explain who is in the paper, how they're affluent and educated, homeowners. And we don't lie about the age. We talk about them being baby boomers. Then we talk about the local website. And then we talk about the blend of the two and the 59% reach we can achieve. Now, I remember what I said, digital is the shiny toy. So as we get into product after audience, we lead with digital. We always start with the digital solution. Mr. Advertiser, remember I said frequency. The word frequency is right there. Your ad will be seen 20,000 times a month on the dominant local website of this community. Notice, I never mentioned the CPM, the cost per thousand. Local business owners don't need to understand that. They need to know that their ad is going to be seen this many times over this period of time for this price. We don't have to educate them to be digital experts. We simply explain it. Then we talk about the audience extension, the programmatic side. Mr. Advertiser, in tandem, your ad will be seen 30,000 times locally here in town on the top websites. That is 50,000 total impressions a month. By the way, your ad will appear in our newspaper each and every week. And beyond that, Mr. Advertiser, we're going to place you in our directory to offer you search engine optimization. And don't forget, Mr. Advertiser, since Google Map listings are very important, we're going to help your data on the internet to make sure it is cleansed properly across all these databases so you rise on your Google Map listing, thus attacking the yellow page salesperson. And finally, we'll keep an eye on your reputation for you as well. And anytime anybody says anything about you on the internet, you'll get an alert. And by the way, I noticed you have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. We will be glad to feature that content on our website as well. All that and more in a blended program where buried in there is a weekly print ad which has the higher reach. It's now a new shiny toy. At this level, we have a $213 a week commitment for a full year. We will make adjustments. This is not written in stone. If the advertiser wants more digital frequency, we increase it. If they want the ad to be color, we can add it. If they want us to place ads in different niche products, we're there. We will change this on the fly. We require a full year contract. And we make the salesperson sign a pledge letter that we will service this business. Now, if this price point's too high, we'll simply not show it to the advertiser, or we'll start here and say, Mr. Advertiser, I can see you're happy with the program, but maybe we can back you down to our platinum level where we take away the audience extension, the programmatic component. Now we have a blend at a lower price point. Or perhaps, Mr. Advertiser, we can get you this program for only $100 a week. And for those that already have a print ad, we have a digital-only program that gives them 70,000 ads a month. They get search engine optimization. They also get the Facebook posts on the website as well. It's a simple formula where we're getting that print ad sold now for a full year, blended with the easier digital services they crave. Our closing ratios are 70% in front of qualified decision makers, contract retentions at 80% after 6 months, and we're generating millions of dollars. Now, we're not trying to put a square peg into a round hole. I believe in solution-based selling. I wrote a book on solution-based selling. Some call it needs-based selling. Some call it consultative selling. Ladies and gentlemen, you can look at the back of my business card. My favorite expression is prognosis without diagnosis is malpractice. You don't write prescriptions without an exam. You have a dialogue with the advertiser. We call that the needs analysis, and learn their goals. And we do that. As a matter of fact, here in McAllen, Texas, when we hosted our workshop for these advertisers to create loss aversion, we said to the advertiser, reach and frequency is half the battle. What is your message going to be? Because if you want to call, click, or a customer, if you want instant response, you got to meet us halfway with a strong offer that's time sensitive. The trick to instant response is reach, frequency, offer, and immediacy. But then we spend time discussing with an advertiser the value of branding. Not every advertiser needs to have an offer each and every week. We believe in creating what we call top-of-mind awareness. Mr. Advertiser, you need to establish your brand in the mind of the local business community, so if or when anyone needs your product or service, you rise top of mind. You beat your competitor. And we actually pass out quick needs analysis forms that advertisers craft and start writing for us the actual message that we're going to suggest they use in the campaigns we're selling. The trick is you don't sell this as a commodity, you sell this as a solution where you work with them on the messaging, whether it's instant impact, where they want to call, click, or a customer, or establish brand identity in the marketplace. All that reach and frequency will benefit them. Reach, frequency, offer, and immediacy. And you may have heard of a company called Gatehouse Media. It was just there 2 months ago, where we generated a bit over $240,000 in a week with a similar program. And again, you'll notice here we now offered video. We actually crafted 4 videos a year for the advertiser and offered them to them on YouTube and on their website, and had different price points that included the video as well. Again, generating huge returns for the business and a lot of revenue for the local media company. And again, there's various programs that we craft, But in each one of these programs is a weekly print ad that helps the core product get sold, the shiny toy. Now, once again, digital services beyond this, like website development, social media management, can be sold as well, because during the same workshop, we then help them sell an additional $100,000 of digital services by doing an assessment of their website. We actually use a tool that analyzes whether their website is SEO friendly, whether it has the right keywords and the right links coming into it. It actually checks their reputation in their social media. And when they see how bad their score is, we can now sell them additional digital services. So generally, it was $350,000 after the reach and frequency was closed, moving into digital services. So with your kind permission now, let's get down here in Honduras. Let's get a little more local. Let's talk about what we did at Grupo Opsa and how we recently launched their digital agency to mimic this model that's been successful in the United States. It's called Go Digital. By the way, when I sat in front of those business owners in San Pedro Sula, the capital Tica, I'll tell you right now, I use this very slide. Nothing changes, no matter how advanced the product is you're selling. You still explain to the advertiser the key to success is targeting the right customer and doing it often. Here is their suite of products they're offering now, very similar to the ones we're doing in in Chicago. And you'll notice now that as we go through their products or services, one of the things we're selling is a small, easy to implement, templated website. It's called a brochure site. It's a website that can be built in about a day. It has hundreds and hundreds of different colors and shapes and sizes. And what it does is it offers 4 different pages to the advertiser, where they can put in their product and service, what they need, what they desire. By the way, it is very search engine optimization friendly. And even after you build the website, you can change the color, the style, the shape, without having to go in and recode the website. It's a simple, easy management tool. We call those brochure websites, and they're sold at a very cost-effective rate. For the advertiser that needs more to their website, we're selling an advanced website design. This one here is customized to the exact needs of the advertisers. It can incorporate up to 200 or 300 pages if we have to. It can insert as much information as we need to. It even has the capability of doing e-commerce. We can actually sell their products or services online for the advertiser as well. Now, for the fulfillment, how did we build this digital agency in Honduras? For the brochure websites, we're using a company called Own Local. They're based in the United States. They provided the tool for us, and we simply can do easy fulfillment. For the more advanced websites, I recommended a company in the United States called Beyond Private Label, which has a team of people that can instantly build the more advanced websites for the advertisers. And believe it or not, as I will show you at the end, we're getting more traction and more advertiser acceptance with the more robust websites than the simple ones. We're doing programmatic, audience extension, and we're explaining to the advertiser the way we can do it locally is much more advanced as they're used to doing in the past, where now their ads don't just get placed in the local paper and on the local website. We can place them on the top websites locally. We call that geo-targeting, and target them based on behavior, target them based on gender and age, target them the best way we can. Ladies and gentlemen, it boils back down to better reach. Better reach, better results. Now, when you analyze the marketplace in Honduras, you'll notice that in the top 10 websites in that country are the 2 major newspaper websites of Grupo Opsa. Think about that. When you look at the top sites in their culture, number 9 or 10 are these very robust newspaper websites. So we had a new concept in mind. What if, when someone goes to visit these websites, from wherever they are in the world, because they're thinking of investing in the culture, they're thinking of visiting the culture, they're thinking of sending money offshore locally, or they're thinking of just exploring Honduras, that we don't follow them on the internet. And we placed a code now in these newspaper websites. This is called site retargeting. So when someone comes and visits El Dorado or La Presna, and they live in the United States of America, we follow them for an entire week online and place local advertisers' ads on CNN, on ESPN, on ABC and CBS, and the thousands of websites they're going to. We call it the Honduras Brand Exchange, and local businesses love it because they understand now that we're capturing someone with an interest in Honduras and providing extra frequency. More frequency, more results. We're following them on the internet for a week and getting great advertiser acceptance. Now, the vendor we recommended for this fulfillment is CWR Digital. CWR is based in Atlanta. They have an entirely advanced tool for finding programmatic inventory, and they're doing all fulfillment for Grupo Opsa out of Atlanta, Georgia. Let's take a look now at YouTube, the #1 website in Honduras. So we now have a YouTube video solution where we're selling local advertisers their own customized videos. And we're producing those in the United States.
If you're looking for good food and lots of fun, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Cambridge Bar and...
Again, we can produce them for them within a week, and we're using CWR Digital to now produce local videos for businesses down in Honduras. When it comes to Google, we are providing services there as well. What we're doing now is we have built a team to do search engine marketing, and we're fulfilling that as well for the business owner. This is not very profitable because you have to watch the markup on this because advertisers are savvy and they understand how much it costs for them to buy these ads on their own, but many of them need assistance in managing these. So we have a team now in the United States of Google AdWords certified people providing search engine marketing for small business owners, and we're taking them to market again through this company in Atlanta, Georgia that's providing the fulfillment, CWR Digital. We're also providing a service that helps them with their reputation. Now, this is new and it was hard to implement, but if anyone now gets mentioned on Google or Facebook, we can send them an email alert. And Jorge doesn't know this, but I've been working diligently with the technology people, and we'll be adding TripAdvisor shortly. And slowly but surely, our goal is to start lassoing in all the websites that people go to in Honduras and expanding our reputation monitoring tool. When I introduced this to the audience in Honduras, they were very, very interested in this service because they understand the power of reputation monitoring. Again, we're providing this service through Atlanta, Georgia at CWR Digital. Let's move on now. Search engine optimization. We have the ability now to actually re-keyword advertisers' websites and negotiate those critical links they desire and crave to rise on Google. And we're going to be doing this one locally at Grupo Opsa because SEO requires a knowledge of the backlinking. So we're training the local team to do it there, a fulfillment team that will be handling search engine optimization. And remember, because of the two ways Google works, relevance, which is keywords, popularity, which is backlinking, we decided to mimic the success we had in the United States and launch a brand new directory product on these two popular websites. If you'll notice now, if you go to La Prensa, it went live last week, you will see this directory. When you look at this directory, you can actually see local businesses, click into it, search for local businesses, see the local advertisers enhanced on this page. I invite you to look at it. And then actually we are digitizing every single print ad that they place in the newspaper. And that print ad lives on a page that is optimized to the newspaper's website. As I like to say, we're putting the print ads on steroids. We're making it a shiny toy. When you buy a print ad now in La Prensa, it automatically is placed in our online directory. And by the way, Mr. Advertiser, we'll offer you a link back to your website through this brand new directory we're providing, which gives you search engine optimization. Just went live in the last 2 weeks, and the advertisers are finding it very exciting. Completely turnkey, easy to fulfill, simple to deploy. The trick is explaining it to the salespeople and having them take it to market. That's being done through this company, Own Local, based in the United States. And finally, I want to sell some print. Remember what I said earlier? I love newspapers. There is nothing wrong with the print product. So we have launched a concept now, and I introduced this to the salespeople last month and trained them on it, where we're going to do the blend. We're going to take that directory product and introduce it to new advertisers with a print ad. Why not? The print ad automatically gets put in there. Why not approach a new advertiser with the bundle? And we've created new ads that actually promote the directory and give the advertiser a small ad. So now they get the entire solution for a year. An ad every week in the newspaper, an ad on the internet, the landing page in the directory, and search engine optimization. And similar to what you saw before, we built it at separate different levels. $156 a week also gets you video, also gets you reputation monitoring, and a small brochure website. If that's too expensive, we can bring it down to $129 a week. We're still offering the audience extension tool as well. We can even bring it down to a level of $87 a week. And if that's too expensive, we can even go a little bit lower to $73 a week. Ladies and gentlemen, we're leveraging digital to sell those critical print ads in Honduras. And you know something? There's nothing wrong with this model. It seems to be working in other cultures. It's working around the world, and it sure as heck is working here. Now we move on. As we can see here, Facebook is critical in this culture. 83% of the population uses Facebook. What we're doing now is offering a service of managing social media. We will help an advertiser with their Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We've trained the salespeople to do that. We are managing Facebook advertising campaigns as well because it's so dominant in the culture. And we will be using local fulfillment for this in-house. And if you go to the local website, because of the reach of Facebook being low, you'll notice that we also launched the social streaming tool, Friends to Follow. Here it is live as of this morning. There it is on the page. This is actual live streaming of social media content of the local advertising community infused with the editorial content. And at Morris Newspapers in the United States, where we launched this 1 year ago, they're claiming that this is one of the highest viewed content blocks on the newspaper's website. And yes, it's mobile friendly as well. And what I love about this is there's no need to worry about fulfillment. I mean, if you think about it, the advertiser's doing the work, they're creating the content, we're simply increasing the reach, giving them more eyeballs, letting their social media be seen by more people. And that fulfillment's being done out of the United States by a company called Friends to Follow. Now, who's selling this? We're almost at the end of our journey. How have we restaffed Grupo Opsa to deal with this new digital agency? Well, when I started working with them in the fall, this was their digital sales team working with their local newspaper sales team. Across both major cities, they had 5 local digital reps that worked with them and 3 key account reps that focused mostly on just generating revenue from the local websites they had and the other online verticals that they sold. Now we've augmented the team by adding 3 new key accounts digital reps, 2 new digital sales reps, and what we're doing now is we're training all of them to support these digital services as we work diligently to train the local sales force to understand the easier products they can take to market. And trust me, that is not easy. Some of their salespeople are hard to convince to take some of these products to market. As I like to say, whenever I work with a media company and start introducing these new products or services, it's usually the same ratio. 33% of the sales team gets it instantly. 33% does not get it but will get it. And 33% are going to be hard. And you have to worry about trying to get them to embrace this. But we're working with the digital specialists to be evangelists, to support them, to ride with them. We call those 4-leg sales appointments, to train them on the appointment and how to take this to market. And so far, since most of our fulfillment is taking place in the United States, we've added 1 new product support person and 2 fulfillment specialists. But we're going to have to advance next month. We'll be adding 2 more digital reps because sales are doing well, and we're actually going to assign an entire manager to this division now, so the local sales manager does not have to handle all of this work. This is the future, and as sales grow, our commitment to staff grows, but we want to make for the revenue to be there before we increase the costs and keep it profitable. So here you go. Here are the products that we're selling. The small brochure sites, YouTube videos. We're selling social media management. I know this is in Spanish. Facebook advertising. We're selling Friends to Follow, our social streaming tool. We're selling search engine marketing. We're selling search engine optimization. And we've put that all together into Grupo Opsa. I'm wondering if you're wondering how we're doing so far. Would you like to hear how our success is in 1 month? Yes, no? How we're doing? All right, I spoke to Isabel. There she is from the launch. And I asked her to give me a quick update on how it's been going after 5 weeks of taking this to market. Well, here's her exact words. Over 50 clients are ready to start now with our programmatic world, and we're launching all of those campaigns in April. And she found it fascinating that the Honduras ad exchange is getting tremendous traction, easy acceptance. So we'll be launching 50 new programmatic campaigns for local advertisers. Our hurdle was convincing them that our inventory was better than the Google stuff they were doing earlier, and she says it's working very well. I'm very excited about it, and this is profitable. Ladies and gentlemen, we are buying this inventory for about $3 to $4 a thousand, and we're selling it north of $12 a thousand. You make money in the supply side of programmatic. You have my word on that. This is good, profitable revenue. Moving on. When it comes to the brochure sites, the simple sites, my guess, those were going to be the ones advertisers would want because they take a day or two to launch. She said no, they want the more complex websites. Those are the ones they want that take weeks to build, and they want e-commerce. Now that's good because they're more expensive, but that's bad only because they're not as profitable. It costs more to build these websites. Actually, about 40 cents on every dollar will go into development. Unfortunately, it's expensive. Now, how do you make that cheaper? You eventually bring that in-house with your own development team, and you'll spend a bit less. But for now, we're going to keep it offshore and keep our costs down. She tells me now that 15 local and key accounts are now on board for us to manage their social media. And what I loved about this is they're giving up on the local, cheap freelancers, she called it, the local people around that say, I'll do your social media, because they believe because it's Grupo Opsa, they'll do a more professional job. You're leveraging your brand to take on the competition for digital services, and she's proving it. And this is profitable, managing people's social media for them. Moving on. She tells me now her best seller is the social streaming tool Friends to Follow, when she offers advertisers the ability to place their social media content directly on the page of the newspaper's website. They love it. And that was not a surprise for me because this is my best closer, and I'll tell you why. In the United States of America, 50% of local advertisers do not update their Facebook page. They have their kid do it, or a young receptionist do it, or somebody in their organization do it. And when you bring them to the meeting and show them that their social media that they're posting will appear on the dominant local website, their ego is in the game, and they want to do it now. It is a total ego close, and it's fascinating. And she said this has become their biggest seller, and this is pure profit. The average cost per advertiser is about $11 a month, and we're selling it north of $50 a month. This is very profitable. And finally, we just started our directory, just put it on board, and she now has 100 clients on board. This is exciting stuff with the local directory product as well. And the reason we decided to do the directory is we noticed that there really wasn't one local directory for the entire country. We have many in the United States. And through some meetings, since this was a very inexpensive start for us, we thought we'd try to seize the territory. Stay tuned for this, because even though we're selling it, I want to make sure we get traffic on that, and we get audience on that so we can get some return for those advertisers. And there you go. So there's our digital agency we've launched. So far, it's looking good. We're using some of the same tenets and some of the same philosophies we did in the United States. And I want to let you know that I'm honored and pleased to be here. I hope you found this profitable and a little more educational. And I am anxious to answer any questions. I've been told I have 5 minutes, and I don't know if I went too fast or I was too technical. But are there any questions I can address from the audience concerning the launch of these products? Yes, sir. Here comes. Are you going to be in Spanish or English, sir? English or Spanish?
I can do English.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Rafael Bonelli, and I'm
with
sorry. ClickLogix. We're a consultant also and product developer. I think your model is very interesting. I congratulate you. You brought a lot of what's needed. I think it's missing the funnel, at least as I know it. You talked about reach. You've developed some engagement products, but you're missing some conversion products in your funnel.
Right? Oh, definitely.
And the other thing I think you're, and then I would like to ask a question. The other thing I think is missing is commercial printing products. So it's a digital agency, of course, but when you go to a customer, and all these guys here have commercial printing presses, which they are not pushing to the same customers. So they have different sales force going to sell the paper, different sales going to sell the digital, and another one going to sell the commercial printing press.
You have said, there's an expression in the United States, you said a cotton-picking mouthful. What I would like to do someday is blend everything into one agency. But the best way we have found to launch these products is to get those digital specialists on top of it first and incubate it. But yes, I agree. There's no reason why that same person who's selling that digital service can't also sell a direct mail piece that is printed and distributed, because they go tandem very well. Now, when it comes to conversion products, what he means is a product that once we capture that lead, we help send it down the pipeline for the advertiser and turn it into a customer. We've done that in the United States as well with some very, very exciting products. Baby steps first, and we can always add those in the future.
But I think where the real problem is that in the model, which actually it's good and it's working, it's okay, but I'm not sure about the long-term possibility of the model in regards to that newspapers or the media companies don't really have a stake in the results that these things get. In other words, when you go to Google and you advertise in Google, you only pay when you get results.
Oh, you're talking
what happens if you promise
a
customer that you're going to get them 100,000 impressions and you only get 50?
This has been going on I was in television, sir, and I had advertisers that would try to buy my inventory for what we call per inquiry. They would put an ad on my TV station and say, we'll only pay you if someone picks up the phone and calls the phone number. And I always refuse that advertising. And I have a line back to those. I am okay with a pay-per-acquisition model, but then I get to write the message for the advertiser. That's how I respond. If you want to pay me for every click, then I get to say in the ad, everybody that clicks gets a $100 bill, you pay them, and I'll get you the clicks. Because I'm being held hostage to their message with my inventory. So I still maintain a reach and frequency approach with my clients. However, there is a breed of advertisers now that believe the only way they should buy advertising is per acquisition, per click or acquisition. However, I still believe in branding. I believe in top-of-mind awareness, and I believe every advertiser in your cities needs to be in your paper every single week and on your website 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to establish their brand. It's not all about clicks anymore. It's about being number one in the mind of the local consumer. And in my opinion, that's just as valuable, especially with your audience. That's how I say it. You may disagree, but it's an interesting battle in today's world. Other questions? I have a few more minutes. I hope I addressed that well, sir. Any other about the digital services we launched? In the back? Yes, sir.
Hi, my question is more about what's been happening in the U.S. with Google and how some advertisers have pulled back their ads from Google and other such search engines because they can't control exactly where they're going to show up, and they may be juxtaposed with a white supremacist or a jihadist or whatnot. So I'm just curious as to what your take is on that but also does it present an opportunity
Yes.
for publishers? Because I presume there's much more control over where the ads go if you do it through a publisher's website.
We are seeing more, when I host a workshop for business owners, I always show search engine marketing, Google AdWords, and I say, how many of you in this room are doing it? And I get a show of hands. Is it working? And I always get, I'm not sure. And when we boil it down, it becomes a smaller and smaller part of their ad buy. Rarely do you see an advertiser that says the number one thing they're doing for results is Google AdWords. It's a mix. We are seeing opportunity now to shave that off. When we have targeted solutions that will target that exact same customer. See, people who do Google AdWords want a really targeted person who needs or desires a product. So if we can sell targeted inventory with what we call search retargeting, in other words, that ad you saw for that hospital is because I went to Google and searched for a chiropractor for my back. They will buy that instead of Google AdWords, but you must have the product to take it. But they are becoming less engaged. By the way, I didn't even discuss real estate in the United States. Realtors are pulling back on their digital ad spends. They are convinced now they overspent in digital, and they're looking for other solutions, and that solution's now in the newspaper. We're converting realtors back into the newspaper. It's exciting, but there has been some overspending, I agree, sir, and they're disenfranchised. One final question from anyone? Is there any other topics or things we covered today? Then if not, it was an honor and pleasure to fly into your beautiful culture. This is the first time I spoke at your conference. I want to thank you very, very much. I hope you saw value in the content. And I'm here to instruct you that the next session starts immediately. There will be no break. And I believe we're going to be talking about the benefits now of SIP. So thank you very much for your valuable time. Have a wonderful day.
Ahí está, listo, ya. Buenas tardes, mucho gusto. Para quienes no me conocen, mi nombre es Rolando Archila. Yo soy parte del comité